president told reporters earlier that if he were you, he would have the governor of California arrested.
You can protest if you want. You have that First Amendment right. But when you cross the line of putting your hands on an ICE officer, impeding our enforcement operations, knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien, that's a crime. And I said last night, if they can protest all they want, when they cross that line, we'll seek prosecution. And when I reported asked me, would that include politicians like Mayor Bass or Governor Newsom? I said, well, of course. It includes anybody that commits a crime.
But Governor Newsom has not done anything to warrant an arrest.
That's CNN host and square-jawed reporter Kaitlan Collins trying to play gotcha politics with Trump border czar Tom Homan and getting steamrolled by common sense. Democrat elites are turning LA into a cartel playground, and Homan isn't playing along with the script. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like CNN still thinks they can spin a full-blown riot into a peaceful protest. Because when Marines show up to stop mass violence, somehow that's the real crisis to Kaitlan Collins. You know, it's almost impressive how committed they are to pretending this isn't a total breakdown. I mean, people are torching property, and the media's worried about Trump's tone. Here's Collins pretending Trump's National Guard deployment is some sort of authoritarian overreach, only to have Tom Homan completely shut it down.
Well, and they're arguing that LAPD and the local law enforcement was handling it just fine and that the National Guard was not required. But I just want to follow up on the Marines, because obviously that is a headline that people see that, and it might alarm some people to see that hundreds of Marines have been activated to potentially be deployed. You're commending the LAPD. Do you believe Marines could be necessary?
Yes, and it all depends on the activity of these protesters. I mean, they make the decisions. You know, I keep hearing media reports that they're rioting because President Trump sent National Guard here. It's just ridiculous. They make the decision to burn a vehicle. They make the decision to throw a weapon at an law enforcement officer. They make the decision on assaulting officers. This is their decision. President Trump doesn't make them burn a vehicle or insulting an officer. President Trump is leaning forward, giving us the resources to be here, to be ready to take on what's next. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. It seems like at night, the crowds get bigger, the violence peaks. So we want to be ahead of the game. We want to be well prepared with the military here to protect government and protect officers' lives.
You know, calling these riots peaceful is like calling fentanyl a wellness supplement. The LA riots didn't break out because people were marching for dignity. They exploded because ICE hit the cartels where it hurts, the money. I mean, Kaitlan Collins wants to make this about optics, like Trump's out there LARPing as a dictator. No, he's doing what weak liberal mayors refuse to do: enforce the law. Homan's not playing along. He's seen what happens when Democrats let chaos reign. Watts burned in 65, South Central burned in 92, LA burned in 2020, and now in 2025 it's happening again because the left keeps rewarding violence. Here's Collins trying her next move: emotional blackmail, claiming the riots haven't changed anything and hoping that'll guilt ICE into stopping deportations.
Well, some people may look and say, you know, if this has not been something that any president has done and hasn't happened since the 1960s, is this the worst protest that has happened since then, warranting that?
Look, I was on the ground Friday night where hundreds and hundreds of protesters who were protesters all of a sudden became criminals. They breached a federal building that had to be pushed back, where officers were at risk. Detainees that we had arrested were at risk. Officers have been injured. Property has been destroyed. So yeah, you know, if the Democratic leadership wasn't taking action, President Trump stepped up and took the action. I've been on the ground. I've seen the worst of the worst down there, so I'm glad President Trump reacted to save lives and property.
Yeah, I was just in LA on Friday as well, but you're saying these operations, the ICE operations in the Los Angeles area, are continuing right now?
Yes, absolutely. We got over 100 teams out there doing Title 8 operations.
Okay, and those will continue over the next several days, I imagine, is what you're arguing?
They'll continue every day, not only in California and Los Angeles. They're going to continue in every city across the country. We have teams throughout the country that are out there looking for those in the country illegally. We're prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats. We're looking for people who've had due process, had order removal from a judge that didn't leave. So we're in every city in the country, and ICE is going to be out every single day, and we'll continue to be out there regardless of what's happening in LA. They're not going to stop us from completing our mission. We're going to enforce the laws of this country.
I mean, this is just pathetic. You know, in 2020, Kamala Harris was promoting bail funds for violent rioters while police stations were burning. Yet suddenly, when it's ICE doing their job, they want a ceasefire. Homan doesn't flinch. The raids continue, deportations continue, and the fake outrage machine keeps sputtering. Because this isn't about compassion, it's about protecting the pipeline. The cartels are losing hundreds of millions, and the people out rioting aren't peaceful activists, they're enforcers. Homan makes it clear these riots are cartel-backed retaliation for an ICE operation that exposed one of the biggest money laundering schemes in LA's history. Here's Homan on Dr. Phil laying out what actually triggered the riots.
This warehouse and retail outlet that you served warrants on, the belief is, and the evidence suggests, that this is a cartel-related business here in the United States, that this money, the $80 million that they are suspected of undervaluing, the double-digit millions in tariffs that they are suspected and will be charged with violations on, income tax evasion. You believe that all of that is benefiting an illegal cartel, a cartel in Mexico or Colombia? Do you know which cartel?
No, it's a larger investigation, and this company is one of many that we're searching and gathering evidence on the fact that much of the money in this industry is laundered to Colombia and Mexico in support of cartel activities. We also got tax evasion, and we also got customs fraud. And you know, ICE, big part of ICE responsibilities are customs laws, customs enforcement. So this is one business out of many we're looking at. So it's a part of a bigger investigation. And as we gather more and more evidence, then we'll decide what we want to criminally prosecute.
You know, once you hear this, everything makes sense. The Fashion District raid wasn't just a bust, it was a direct hit on cartel finances. Homan says they uncovered hundreds of millions being laundered through that one warehouse, all funding cartel drug ops, smuggling, and more. This is why they're rioting, not because of some immigration policy, but because the Trump administration is cutting off their cash flow, and CNN's mad about the National Guard. Trump's not sending in troops to look scary, he's sending them in because these people are dangerous. If he backs down now, the message is clear: riot hard enough and you win. ICE turns into a toothless agency begging for approval, and the border czar becomes a useless HR rep, which isn't gonna happen on Homan's watch. But let me know what you think. Should Trump cave to cartel-funded riots or keep going after the money behind the madness? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.